Hello dear students and welcome to Sri Jendra Rank Zone classes. I am your mentor Amit Ajmani, and in this lecture we'll be continuing about the chapter comprehension passages. Now in my previous lecture I told you exactly how to attempt the comprehension passages. I hope that is clear to all. In this session, we will be discussing a bit of more practice passages which are given in the book so as to get more practice and more idea about how these passages are to be done. So let us start up with the next practice passage. We have to read the passage carefully, of course, that we will do, and we need to answer the questions that follow. The first step that I told you for attempting these passages is that before reading the passage, just directly come to the questions. Try to relate and remember the questions. Go through the questions. That is always helpful. The first question is, what is artificial intelligence? So we have a basic idea that there is something regarding the artificial intelligence being talked about in this passage. The second question says, Oscar Salazar says we are all responsible. For what does he hold us responsible? So these are the words of Oscar Salazar that we need to relate while reading the passage. Third question is, the way forward for tech community is, we need to relate the tech community and the way forward for the tech community. Fourth question, what is the closest meaning of a startup in the context? Startup companies. We know what startup companies are. So we have to find the closest meaning of a startup in this particular passage that is given to us. And the fifth question says that Isaac Asimov says there is no way but onwards. He means that. What does he mean by saying this? So we need to relate Isaac Asimov and his this statement. There is no way but onwards. So now keeping all these questions in mind, let us read the passage. The heading of the passage is Automation and Artificial Intelligence. Let us read it. Automation and artificial intelligence are the buzzwords which have created excitement and commotion in the industry and economy. AI, artificial intelligence, is the simulation of human intelligence processes by machines, especially computer systems. If you remember, this is our first question. What is artificial intelligence? Right? Let us study further. These processes include learning. The machines acquire knowledge of rules for using the information. It also includes reasoning, that is the using the rules to reach approximate or definite conclusions, and self-correction. Nothing we remember being asked from this particular topic. Scientific and technological advancements have led to the invention of sophisticated machines, robots, and software which surpass humans in physical and cognitive functions. This means that there is increased profitability which leads to economic growth. However, the downside is loss of traditional jobs and increasing unemployment in various sectors of the industry, which have a ripple effect on and serious implications for the society. So these are the negativities being talked about. Clear? Next, as governments, organizations, and workforce all over the world grapple with this phenomena, one recalls the words of the US President Lyndon B. Johnson in 1964. Now, in the questions, we know that no such name was mentioned, so whatever he has said is irrelevant from exam point of view, but still, let us read it. He had said at that time, if we understand it, if we plan for it, if we apply it well, automation will not be a job destroyer or have a family displaced. Instead, it can remove dullness from the work of man and provide him with more than man has ever had before. It also brings to fore the words of Isaac Asimov. This is what now we have encountered in the questions. Let us see. Isaac Asimov, who had said that there is no way but onwards. And what exactly he meant by saying? He said it in relation to scientific inventions impacting human lives. So this is that we need to relate that there was a question regarding this. Got it? Next, the McKinsey Global Institute had published a report on automation and its potential effects on productivity. According to them, activities that involve data collection, data processing, and physical work in factories in sectors such as manufacturing, food services, transportation, and warehousing and retail will be most affected. Now, nothing is asked from this topic, right? So, this is all normal reading part. On one hand, AI, artificial intelligence, and automation will open new avenues for individuals, certain sections of the industry and the economy. But on the other hand, they will also lead to loss of jobs of millions across the world, creating an unhappy, dissatisfied, and disgruntled population. It will also mean more money allocation by the state for social welfare. Nothing related to questions in this whole paragraph. Thus, the need of the hour is to have strategies and policies that increase the benefits of AI and diminish its negative impact. Oscar Salazar. Now, this word we have already been familiar with. Oscar Salazar, who built the app for a startup idea that we now call Uber, says he thought very little about how the application would impact society and large number of drivers who would lose a source of income. We are all responsible, he said at the Milken Global Conference in Los Angeles. We are adding technology to a society without thinking about the consequences. So that is why he's saying that we are all responsible because we all are adding technology to a society without thinking about the consequences. I think government, industry, and society need to work more together because it is going to get crazier and crazier. According to him, the technology companies who create AI must not only participate in the discussions on the effects of automation but also take responsibility for them. So, we got one related question in this paragraph in the starting. Let us see next. It is certain that AI driven automation will influence and change the economy over the coming years and decades. The challenge for all stakeholders and policymakers will be to update, strengthen, and adapt policies to respond to the economic effects of the AI. The solution, it seems, lies in identifying skills required in the job market in the future, reskilling and retooling workers for the new job scenario, revamping education for jobs of the future, and also support and develop AI for its many benefits. Nothing related to this full paragraph. Next question, next paragraph is, though no one can be certain how much and how far the human race will benefit from AI or what drawbacks and disruptions people across the globe will face because of it. The need to be prepared for its impact on an individual, community, national, and international level is vital and necessary in the future. So, this is the whole passage related to the artificial intelligence and the automation that is taking place because of the increase in technology. Now, after reading the passage, let us go through the questions again. What is artificial intelligence? Let us see the options given. The intelligence feigned by some humans. or the intelligence exhibited by machines and software? Yes, this is the intelligence exhibited by machines and software. Let us see the rest of the options. Maybe we'll get some better option. Intelligence which is based on falsehood? No. Inappropriate intelligence? No. So we will mark B to be our correct answer to question number 1, that artificial intelligence is the intelligence exhibited by machines and software. Let us see the second question. Oscar Salazar says we are all responsible. For what does he hold us responsible? First option is for creating new jobs in the industry. Second option is for developing new software for industry. Third is for creating technology leading to loss of jobs and for creating new startups. So this is what exactly he meant when he said that we are all responsible, because he gave the reference to Uber and the loss of jobs of thousands of drivers, right? So when Oscar Salazar says we are all responsible, he is holding the people responsible for creating technology leading to loss of jobs. C is the right answer to question number 2. Next, the way forward for the tech community is. What is the way forward? What exactly is the passage concluding at the end? What exactly the tech community should do? Is it to develop more softwares, or to create an environment in which employees feel comfortable, or to participate in discussions, or to train the existing workforce for tech jobs of the future? This is the correct answer. This is being told in the last paragraph, that the need of the hour is that we need to prepare ourselves for the changes that are going to come in future, and we need to train the existing workforce for these kind of tech jobs for the future. Clear? Next, which is the closest meaning of a startup in the context? Is it to start something new? Yes, it means startup. An insolent person? No. A young company that is just beginning to develop? Yes, this is a actual meaning of startup. Fresh and modern? No. So we have got two possibilities. One is, okay, one is to start something new, that is a startup, and the more specific, the more relevant, the more appropriate explanation and the option is that a startup is a young company that is just beginning to develop, right? So C will be our choice for this question. Let us see question number 5. Isaac Asimov says there is no way but onwards. He means that first we have to move forward quickly. No such word quickly was specified, no meaning conveying it. So I will not mark this option. Science and technology are bringing rapid changes in our lives. There is no way but onwards. This is also not the correct explanation. Further development in science and technology will find solutions to the problems created by new inventions. Yes, there is no way but onwards means we need to make further developments so that we go onward and tackle these problems. Let us see the fourth option also. Moving on with life is the only option available to us in the current scenario. Not at all. So C is the most appropriate option out of these four. So I'll mark C. So this is the first passage. I hope you must have understood how to attempt, and you must have observed that if you read the questions first and then you read the passage, in that case, wherever and whenever you will find something related to the questions, then definitely it will strike your mind. Let us have a few more examples. Taking passage number 2, once again going for the questions first. First question is, health devices are useful for. What are the various benefits or where exactly the health devices are useful. Second question is medical practitioners advice is that we should measure health by how to measure health. This is what we need to relate while reading the passage. Second, third question is the drawback of health devices are. We need to relate the drawbacks of the health devices. Fourth question, we should assess our health by. How should we assess our health? And the last question is find words in the passage which are similar in meaning to the ones given below. Dimensions, supervising or overseeing. These two words we need to find the similar synonyms in the passage. Right? Dimensions and supervising. Now let us come to the questions. The passage. The difference between technology and slavery is the slaves are fully aware that they are not free. Nazim Nicholas Taleb. Now, this particular statement in itself brings the question, how is technology impacting our lives? Many research studies are seeking answers to this question and coming up with data and information that is worrisome. As the human race increasingly depends on devices for work and leisure, technology invades every aspect of our lives. We have appliances in our kitchens and homes, machines and computers in offices, and of course, innumerable gadgets without which people feel lost and incomplete. In fact, we now try to measure every aspect of our lives with gadgets and gizmos available in the market. Now, these health devices, how they are useful? They can track routine activities like sleep, exercise, diet, heartbeat, breathing rate, steps taken, water intake, and every conceivable aspect of life. This is the first question that was asked. How health devices are useful? Health and fitness is measured by a smartwatch, fitness band, and other wearable apps available in the market. Though many of these apps are truly useful to measure health parameters like blood pressure, heart rate, etc., for the ailing, for the diseased, they have begun to dominate the lives of people for whom it becomes their personal health information guru. If the health parameters do not match the desired outcome of the application they are using, it causes anxiety and stress. Many health freaks end up with obsessive compulsive disorders. Several psychiatrists disapprove of our dependence on gadgets to assess our health. They refer it as the over monitoring syndrome. Monitoring is supervising. Instead of listening to our own bodies, which are best judges of our physical and mental health, we look at the numbers on the gadget to tell us whether we had a good workout or sufficient and restful sleep at night. Since every human being is different, can an app accurately match and measure the parameters of each individual using it? Another downside is that instead of enjoying the simple health benefits and pleasure of a sport workout, the completion of the target becomes the focal point of the exercise. The advice given by medical practitioners is that a healthy life is judged by your physical, mental, and social well being. This is how we need to assess our health and not machines of any kind. So use gadgets judiciously and do not let them dictate your life. So this is the passage about these technological health devices. Now let us see the questions once again, and now this time we will try to answer them also. First question is health devices are useful for checking our moods? No. Keeping fit and happy, fit part is okay, but not happy. Keeping a track of everyday activities like exercise, sleep, etc. Exactly. Monitoring work and leisure activities, it may be, but this is the best suitable option, option number C. This is why health devices are used. So we'll go for C option. Second question is, medical practitioners advice is that we should measure health by. How we can measure health? Physical fitness, yes. Mental fitness, yes. Social well-being, yes. This is exactly as it is given to us in the passage. Physical, mental and social well-being. So all the three will be applicable. So we will write all of the above. The D option is the perfect option. Clear? Next, the drawbacks of health devices are, there are so many drawbacks given. Let us see what are the options provided to us. They are too bulky, nothing specified as such. They are very costly, nothing specified as per their cost. They cause pressure and anxiety in users. Yes, this is mentioned that if the desired outcome is not obtained, then it leads to anxiety. And they are a cause of too much distraction. Nothing of that sort. So C is the right answer, that the drawback of health devices are they cause pressure and anxiety in users. Coming to the next question. We should assess our health by. How we should assess? Using the health gadgets? No. Talking to a doctor? Not specified. Listening to our own body? Yes. This is what is being said in the passage, that we should listen to our own body rather than checking the information and the data provided on the screen of the gadgets. Asking family and health experts? Nothing specified in the passage. Got it? Next, find words in the passage which are similar in meaning to the ones given below. The first word is dimension. Now, dimension, the synonym is aspect. Every aspect. Excuse me. So, the first word was dimension. The second is supervision or overseeing. Now, supervision means monitoring, right? So, these are the words in the passage which are synonyms of dimension and supervising. This is about our second passage. I hope things would have been a bit more clearer. Coming to the third passage now. Once again, we'll discuss the questions first. We'll go through them. Meditation benefits the passage is about meditation. Transcendental meditation uses, we need to use and find the word transcendental meditation. Next is select the most suitable title for the passage. Fourth question is select the option which is closest in meaning to vigilance in the context. Right? So let us try to relate the passage now after going through all the questions. Studies by the Bangalore based Swami Vivekananda's Yoga Anusandhana Samsthana, that is S Vyasa acronym, analyze the changes that take place in the body during Om meditation. The study found small but statistically significant reduction in heart rate during Om meditation. Thus, according to the researchers, suggests a deep psychophysiological relaxation which in turn increases alertness. Alertness is another word for vigilance, right? So we can take it as an alternative. The study also showed decrease in blood flow in the skin, which too is indicative of improved alertness. Some studies based on the analysis of electroencephalographic recordings have shown that mindfulness meditation improves relaxation. One study that looked at performance in cancellation tasks, that is, a psychometric test of visual perception and vigilance in 70 healthy subjects. Some of them meditated before the task, found that performance in such tasks improves after meditation. Researchers have demonstrated that meditation leads to positive changes in the midbrain associated with vision, hearing, motor control, sleep, and alertness. Whether one choose to meditate on a single syllable or a series of thoughts. Transcendental meditation. We have this in the questions, which uses a sound or mantra, improves perception of hearing. In the various studies done by S. Vyasa on sleep and meditation, it is said meditation in many ways is similar to a deep state of sleep. Bodily sensation is voluntarily reduced in both these conditions. However, unlike in sleep, the level of awareness is significantly higher in meditation. So these are basically the few views regarding meditation, especially the views of S. Vyasa. Now let us come to the question. Meditation benefits the body? Yes. It benefits the mind? Yes. It benefits the spirit also. So the right answer will be all of the above, D part. Clear? Coming to the next question now. In next question, transcendental meditation uses sleep mode, sound or mantra, music, or psychophysiological phenomena. It uses a particular sound, syllable, or mantra. B is the right option. Next, let's see the third part. Select the most suitable title for the passage. Mindful meditation, we can go for it. Body of meditation, no, it is not actually making some sense. Science of meditation, making good sense. Best of meditation, no, because meditation means are not actually specified. So we can go for mindful meditation or the science of meditation. The better appropriate selection should be C, because it tells us how and why meditation is helpful for the body, mind, and soul. Next is select the option which is closest in meaning to vigilance. Vigilance is keeping track of. Second option is helpfulness, which is obviously not. Perception is not. Attentiveness, all alertness. That is basically what vigilance is. So we need to go with the option D. Clear? So these are the 4 questions. Very short passage. Quite simple also. I think the questions were quite direct. Coming to the next passage for practice. This passage is about cerebral matter. A bit lengthy. Let us see what are the various questions asked. Neuroplasticity refers to. The first word that we need to remember is neuroplasticity. What exactly is neuroplasticity? Second, the brain remains active and agile if. How the brain is going to remain active? We need to find the reason in the passage. The best way to prevent dementia is, now maybe we don't know what exactly dementia is, but we don't have to find the meaning of dementia. We have to find the way to prevent dementia. And fourth is sleeping is. Now what is sleeping? We need to exactly relate it with the help of the passage itself only. So now after reading the questions, let us go through the passage. Cerebral matter. The human brain has been examined for ages in an attempt to understand its structure and functioning. Scientists over time have indicated that the slow decline of brain as you age is inevitable. It is true that after the age of 40, the brain begins to lose volume. However, it has recently been discovered that if we continue to keep it active by using it to learn multifarious new and challenging skills and activities. So how can we make our brain remain active? Possibly this is the answer. Rest we'll see for the options in the questions. It will improve instead of declining. Research shows that we cannot only change the way we think and feel, but that those thoughts and feelings can change the very physical workings of the brain. It is called neuroplasticity. Another question. We got the answer here. And that means that the brain you own is the one you build. And you are building it every day with what you do. Exercise and nutrition are key. And genetics plays a role, of course. A US study recently published findings on online brain training games concluding that the games which challenge memory and reasoning skills could cut the risk of dementia by a third. Right? So, dementia, how can we prevent it? By playing these games which are challenging memory and reasoning skills. Experts describe these results as spectacular, but there are other changes you can make that have a proven effect on brain function. You need to challenge your brain. So find something really difficult and new that you like to do and do it. Numerous studies prove that the more mentally active you stay, the longer you stay mentally active. Once again, remaining active. Building new network among your brain cells, build a boat, learn a language, make art, make music, and don't retire from life when you stop working. Studies show that the educated brain stays sharp longer, so keep learning or even better, teach a class. The healing benefits of sleep are obvious. Related to sleep, we have got one question. Now studies show that it enhances memory if you sleep within a few hours of learning something new, and that sleep deprivation disrupts memory formation. These studies, both from the US, found that even a very short sleep after learning strengthens memory. It appears that our unconscious or autonomic nervous system stays at work while we sleep, seemingly consolidating all that new learning. And don't forget naps. Even very short ones can enhance memory and improve learning. Sarah Mednick, a professor of psychology at the University of California, Riverside, author of Take a Nap, Change Your Life, and co-author of one of the sleep studies, has said that napping between 15 and 90 minutes of is great for the brain and can be as good as a whole night's sleep. Dozens of studies show meditation reduces stress, and newer studies show meditation also physically changes the brain. Ongoing studies from Richie Davidson at the Center of Health Minds at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, USA, have shown meditation increases gray matter in parts of the brain associated with flexibility, memory, and learning, and also executive functions, the ability to solve the problems and make choices. While the most dramatic changes were seen in brains that had been meditating for decades, measurable brain changes were seen only after a few months. So, this is all about the relaxation method and how our brain works. Now, coming to the questions, what is neuroplasty? Is it the ability of brain to form and recognize connections to remain active and young? Yes, it is. Flexibility of the brain, no. Challenging and stretching of the brain, no. Change thoughts and feelings, no. It is the ability of the brain to form and reorganize the connections to remain active and young. A is the right answer. Second is the brain remains active and agile if we eat nutritious food, of course. If we meditate, yes. build new network in the brain by learning new things? Yes. So, is this question, we will mark the D option. All of the above are required to make the or to keep the brain active and agile. Next question. The best way to prevent dementia is you should exercise daily, nothing specified. Control your thoughts and feelings, nothing specified. Okay, let me come back to the question again. Right. Meet many people frequently, not specified. Enhance memory, reasoning skills, and continue learning all your life. Yes, this is what exactly is the conclusion drawn in the passage. Right. Next and last question is, sleeping is detrimental for physical and mental health. It is. Makes you lethargic. No. Beneficial for all brain functions. It is. Disrupts memory formation. No. So we may opt for A and C, but the best possible option according to the passage is beneficial for all brain functions. Clear? So sleeping is beneficial for all brain functions. C needs to be the choice for this particular question. Clear? Let us take one more example. Passage number 5. Now there are quite many passages given. We need to do all. Two reasons. Because they are for practice. We need to do. And secondly, and most importantly, if we are not taking up in the class, then I'm sure not 100% of you are going to do it on your own. You will do one or two or three, and then you will feel, okay, sir, that is sufficient. This is what exactly normal students do. So we'll be taking up all the passages to make sure that we are not leaving anything. Let us come to the next passage, and as always, coming to the questions first. Chanakya Niti is, we don't know what is Chanakya Niti, we need to find out from the passage. Chanakya amazes scholars because of. Why Chanakya amazes scholars? Next question is, in Arthashastra, Chanakya places the interests of the state. We need to relate Arthashastra and interests of the state. Fourth question, the modern global diplomacy follows the principle of. Modern global diplomacy follows the principle of. And the next question is, pick out the words from the passage which mean involves and raises. Right? So let us read the passage now. Chanakya Niti. What is Chanakya Niti? It is synonymous with efficient statecraft around the world, and Chanakya is India's face of political statecraft and the rich political understanding of its ancient heritage. So, in the very first line, we got to know what Chanakya Niti is. There was a question regarding to it. We'll see while after doing the passage. No political efficiency is devoid of understanding Chanakya and his ways of statecraft. In fact, he showed the world what political theory is in practice. Ancient Indian history is incomplete without a reference to his ways of statecraft and politics. Chanakya amazes any scholar. Second question. The answer is here. How Chanakya amazes any scholar? With his multifaceted character. But it had a distinct focused aim. He was more about philosophy and thoughts put into action. He does not bore you with his philosophical theory, but engages you to think, act, and achieve what you dream of. He overthrew a mighty empire and put in the throne a humble man like Chandragupta Maurya. He identified the potential ruler from a group of children, thus gave the world a great sovereign who united the Indian subcontinent into a political and administrative unit for sure. Chanakya's mental capabilities were superb. The modern global diplomacy revolves around his principle of. This is what modern global diplomacy revolves around, the principle of Sam Dam Dand Bhed. That is, persuade, purchase, set a price upon, punish, exploit the weakness. This is also a question being asked. His Arth Shastra, again one question, elevates the state of to a position where services to it entails imperatives unknown to morality. Chanakya would be identified as a professor of political science and economics at Takshila. He was an economic, political, and royal advisor and a think tank, and can be credited to have given India its first complex united empire. So this is the passage all about, all the praises of Chanakya and his Niti. So now let us try to relate the questions. What is Chanakya Niti? Is it an individual or a political treatise or a philosophy or a complex way of thinking? It is a political treatise. Second question is, Chanakya amazes scholars because of his character, baby, his focused aim, no, his boring political philosophy, not at all, ability to get people to think and act and achieve their dreams. This is the better option. So, D will be the right option. Third question is, in Arthashastra, Chanakya places the interest of the state below moral responsibility, no. At par, no. Above any moral responsibility. That a state has nothing to do, no. Above any moral responsibility, according to his Arthashastra, the interest of the state are above any moral responsibility. Next is, the modern day global diplomacy follows the principle of reward, request, entreaty and punishment, no. Request, cajole, threaten and persuade, no. Purchase, right. Punish, right. Request and accept, no. Persuasion, right. Exploitation, punishment and purchase. This is what modern day global diplomacy is following the principle of. D is the right answer. And finding the words in the passage, already done for you. Involves is entails, and raises means elevates. Clear? So this is our passage number 5th. Coming to the next passage, and again to the questions related to the passage first. We are becoming increasingly rude because. Why are we getting increasingly rude? We need to find the reason in the passage. In many reality shows like Big Boss and Roadies, the winner is. What type of winner is selected in these? These days, it is fashionable and cool to be dash. What is considered to be fashionable and cool? Next, pick out the words from the passage which mean scheming or imagined. Right? The words have already been described, the conniving and being vicarious. We'll see where exactly these words are being used in the passage. So let us go through the passage now. Kindness and politeness are not overrated at all. They are underused, said by Tommy Lee Jones. Following is the latest trend and being fashionable. First question is the in thing these days. This fad is not only prevalent in clothes, accessories, home decor, and every conceivable thing, but also attitude and behavior. These days, being rude, loud, intolerant, and aggressive is cool. This is what our actual question was. What is considered to be being cool and fashionable? It is being rude, loud, intolerant, and aggressive. Anyone who is quiet, polite, and keeps a low profile is labeled a sissy, simple, and regressive. Increasingly, the world is becoming I centric. Everyone believes and follows the principle of me and myself, above you and yours, checking your phone repeatedly when in company, not listening to others, interrupting a conversation, talking loudly on the phone in public places, parking my car in the middle of the road and being unmindful of the traffic chaos, being nasty on social media, aggression on the road is all a part of normal behavior these days. And this is all true. If we relate practically, all very true. Now, a 2013 survey by Vital Sparks found that as social media usage surged over the years, it has given rise to increasing cases of incivility, with 78% of the 2,698 people reporting, and increasing in rudeness online. So, what exactly is responsible for it? Social media. Social media has brought about an increase in bad manners and loss of courtesies, decency, and etiquettes in society. We have got a question regarding it. Perhaps it is easier to be mean, nasty, and rude when you are not in face to face interaction with somebody. Reality shows on TV like Big Boss and Roadies. Again, one question being asked: what type of winner is there in such kind of reality shows? They encourage bad manners and vulgarity. People get vicarious pleasures in watching the contestants sling mud on each other and fling sleazy accusations on others. The more conniving, cunning, and crude you are, the higher your chances of winning. So, what type of winner is there in these kind of reality shows? Conniving, cunning, and crude. It is a reflection of on our society that thrives on such shows. Sadly, appalling behavior and intolerant views with a good dose of abuse, aggression, and expletives thrown in have become fodder for the soul. This is the passage. Now, coming to the questions. We are becoming increasingly rude because of modern day stress. Nothing talked about the stress. We like being rude, nothing specified. Social media encourages such behavior. Yes. We aren't concerned about others' feelings. Yes, but not specified in the question. So we will go with what is specified in the question, that is social media, which encourages such behavior of becoming increasingly rude. C will be the right answer. Second question. In many reality shows like Big Boss and Roadies, the winner is polite and courteous, no. Friendly and considerate, no. Happy and carefree, no. He should be nasty and discourteous. He should be rude. Then he can win these reality shows. Coming to the next question. Third question is, these days it is fashionable and cool to be dressed in the latest fashion. No. Knowledgeable and accessible, not at all. Funny and friendly, not specified. Ill mannered and insolent. This is what is being said, even though it is in a sarcastic way, but this is being said in the passage that being cool is being ill mannered and insolent. Fourth question, pick out words from the passage which mean the following. Scheming, it is conniving. The conniving, cunning, and clever people. Imagined is vicarious. Right? This is the sixth passage. Let us also go through the last passage given as per the book, so that we should complete our responsibility of going through all the details. Going through the questions first. The Reserve Bank has been empowered to. What are the powers given to the Reserve Bank? We'll go through in the passage. Bankers do not take actions against defaulters because they. Why the bankers are not taking any action against the defaulters? We need to find out from the passage. According to Mr. Jaitley, the present status quo cannot continue as. Mr. Jaitley, our former finance minister, the present status quo situation cannot continue. Why? We'll see. Which is the most appropriate meaning of status quo? Status quo? We'll see. Any other question? No. These are the four questions being asked. So let us read the passage now. The government has promulgated an ordinance empowering the RBI. This is the first question being asked. Empowering the RBI to issue specific instructions to bank to act against defaulters and also initiate bankruptcy and insolvency proceedings under the law, while promising more steps to ensure that banks get cracking on tackling bad debt amounting to over rupees 6 lakh crore. So this is how the RBI has been empowered. While details of additional steps will be announced shortly, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley told reporters that new targets being fixed for the state-run leaders as lenders as part of the annual exercise will link additional equity, support to immediate cash release initiatives such as sale of assets or closure of non-profitable branches, steps to turn around the business, and strengthening of credit appraisal processes. Let's continue with the next paragraph. While some of the steps, such as sale of non-core assets, have been discussed in the past too, banks fail to make such headway. For the moment, the government has focused on the legal provisions through the ordinance to let the RBI to issue directions to any banking company or banking companies to initiate insolvency resolution process in respect to a default under the provisions of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code IBC 2016. Now, why the banking people are not able to take any action? This is the reason why. The ordinance also empowered the RBI to set up sector oversight panels that will help shield bankers from possible action by investigative agencies looking into loan restructuring proposals. The fear of agencies such as the CBI, the Comptroller and Auditor General, and the Central Vigilance Commission have been cited by bankers to hold back decisions. A committee which oversees such JLF, that is Joint Lenders Forum arrangements, is one step which will give them, bankers, this comfort level. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley said at a press conference. An amendment is also proposed to the Prevention of Corruption Act, for which bill was introduced in Parliament. The standing committee has submitted its report on it, and a revised bill will be introduced in Parliament soon. Jaitley, who made no bones about unacceptably high level of non-performing assets (NPAs) hindering the capacity of lenders to fund economic activities, said the government had also given a one-time general authorization to the RBI. The ordinance, recommended by Parliament on Wednesday, was promulgated by President Pranab Mukherjee on Thursday evening. Quite a lengthy paragraph, ending it now. The ordinance, which inserts two new provisions into the Banking Regulation Act 1949, will have to be placed in Parliament for approval in the monsoon session. The object of this act is that the present status quo cannot continue. The present situation, the present circumstance cannot continue. And the present status quo is that not much was moving, and therefore paralysis in the name of autonomy is detrimental to the economy itself, and therefore really requires to be broken. Jaitley said. He said the move will expedite commercial decisions of banks. The minister said one of the objects is that when bankers take commercial decisions on commercial and banking considerations, they must have adequate comfort level. So this is all about the amendment bills and the new provisions that are empowering the RBI. right? So this was the passage all about. Let us see the questions now. The Reserve Bank has been empowered to act against loan defaulters. Yes. Begin bankruptcy and insolvency proceedings against many people. No, they can't. Tackle bad debts by withdrawing money from accounts of defaulters. Nothing specified related to this. Give warning to loan defaulters. No. So it is only the first option, that the RBI has been empowered to act against loan defaulters. Second question is, banks bankers do not take action against defaulter because they have no power to do so. No, they have the power, so we cannot say it, right? They fear action by investigative agencies, yes, like CBI, etc. They fear actions. That is why they do not take any action. They are forbidden to do so by forces in power, nothing specified. They have no desire to do so, not at all. So B will be the right answer. Let us see the next question. Question number 3. According to Mr. Jaitley, the present status quo cannot continue. Why? As first option, it is detrimental for the economy. Exactly. And these exact words are mentioned in the passage. Let us see where exactly they are mentioned. They are detrimental for the society. This is what the paragraph was saying. And the present status quo is that not much was moving, and therefore paralysis in the name of autonomy is detrimental to the economy itself. And that is why it really requires to be broken. That means it cannot continue. Right? So the first option is perfectly wrong, perfectly correct. Nothing is moving forward. Not exactly. Borrowers are taking the banks for granted. Not specified in the passage. The banks have to do something. Of course, they have to, but this is not the right answer to the question above. This is the answer to the third question. Let us see the next and the last question of the last passage. How wonderful it is to listen to this word last and last being repeated, no? After just listening and listening and listening, when you listen to the word last, it gives a very pleasant effect to the ears. So yes, it is the last question of the last passage, and I hope that you will be focusing on this question itself only. Which is the most appropriate meaning of status quo? Is it high status in the society? Not at all. The status quotient in society? Not at all. Existing circumstances? Yes. Poor circumstances? No. Status quo is the present situation, the present existing circumstance, that is called status quo. So C will be the correct option for this question number 4. And this is all about the passages given for our practice, which we have just completed. And this is all about the chapter comprehension passages. Now in these passages, you need to understand a few things. There are so many times we have just seen, we have practiced almost around 10 passages in the previous class and today's class included. There are so many times when there are more than one correct option, but we have to actually go according to the passage. We don't have to relate as to which option is practically correct or practically relevant. No. Is it being described in the passage? We'll go for it. If not, we are not going to put forth any of our own ideas regarding any views which are outside the passage. So this is one thing that you need to remember. Second important thing is, whenever you are required to find the similar meaning words, synonyms, etc., please make sure that you underline all the words whose actual literal meaning you don't know. Now this is quite a simple fact, that when we are going through any particular passage, in that passage there are many words which we do not exactly know, but we can make out their meanings just by their application and use in the sentences, but we don't know their actual meaning or actual synonym. So just underline all such words while you are reading the passage. Why so? Just firstly, you are going through the questions. In the questions, if you are required to give the synonyms, only then you will be doing this process. Otherwise, there is no need. Now, if you are required to answer any synonym and after reading the passage, you have underlined, let us say, 8 or 10 words. Maximum, I think, 8 or 10 words will be there. Probably for some of you, it will be 2 or 3 words. For some, it may be 3 or 4. And it also depends on the passage that you will be getting there in the examination. Maximum to maximum, you can get 7, 8, 10 words. Now, what you are going to do is, when you are going to find the synonym as asked in the question, there are two options. One option is the synonym is such a word which is not underlined. Now, because it is not underlined, so obviously you know exactly what the meaning of those words are and you can easily find out, right? But unfortunately, most of the times it does not happen. Most of the times you are given such a word whose meaning you don't know, and then what you do is, normally a child psychology, a student psychology is, you mark those words which you seem to be the most difficult, most dangerous words. It is not so. Most of the time it is not so. So what you will do from now onwards is, if you have the synonym out of the words that you have underlined, simply put the word in the question in all those places and now try to see whether these words given in the question are making some sense in the sentence or not. Reread the sentence, putting the word in the question there. Trust me, if you have marked 10 words, you yourself are going to reject minimum 5 words. And now your choices are lesser and your probability of getting the right answer becomes more. So this is, you can make a intelligent guess. It will be a guess, no doubt, but now it is at least some planned way of guessing, and it increases the possibility of your answer getting correct. Fine. So these are all about comprehension passages. Please make sure that you go through all these examples once again on your own, and if possible also practice it from some other material, right? So that is the end of this particular session. In the next class, we'll be taking up a new topic. We'll be discussing about it. Fine. So till then, take care of yourself. Stay happy. Stay healthy. We'll meet in the next session. Have a great day and thank you so much for being a part of this particular class. Have a good time.